Welcome to Wrestling is Real.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
Here's the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
Day in and day out, I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary.
And whether you like it or you don't like it, learn, by God, to love it, because it's the best thing going today.
Celebrating 8 years of podcast excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. You can put the Royal Rumble in the books. We are here once again. Let's go with another Wrestling is Real podcast. King of Podcasts here with you. Thanks for being here with us. So tonight, the Royal Rumble brought us a couple things. I think they have done the right thing where they did really coronate a new superstar in Bianca Belair with the Women's Royal Rumble match, which was won very well. We'll talk about that in a moment. As for Edge becoming the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, it says a lot of where the company is right now. Let's just say that. Now, of course, we know we're in WrestleMania season time. Royal Rumble's here. There's only so many things you can do in terms of surprises within the Royal Rumble match. The other thing you have to consider as well is what they have in front of them to go ahead and, get WrestleMania season back and get the hype back up. Because there's only so many part-time stars they can bring back, and they've already brought them in. We now know who they are. And when you really know that this company has always lived off the legacy of what they've had, and that the legacy that they've had for a long time, they're running out of stars to use, and they are in desperate need to build some new stars, which we talk about every offseason, they fail to do. So, they do some things kind of half-assed to try to go and bring some people up, but then they really don't. It's just what they do. I don't know why it's always this kind of thing, but at the moment, they are in a tough spot. They put themselves in a tough spot in the creative sense, because more than anything else, it's not as if this company doesn't have the wherewithal, the resources. Listen, how many more billion-dollar deals does this company need to get themselves realizing, man, we need to up the product. We need to elevate. We need to improve the product, not the presentation so much, because obviously, the presentation of it, the production value, all that is great. But again, all you have to do is perform a good TV product. They're not even going on the road. They're not even booking for house shows. They're just booking for television. It's not that hard. But this company, they do not have faith for whatever reason to get certain stars over. And they have realized in some years that, yes, the Royal Rumble will be the coronation of somebody to go ahead and move up that's going to be elevated. You would hope. And this time around, Bianca Belair is it. And that's great. And I'll tell you, that's one of the true highlights of this year's Royal Rumble pay-per-view. But now the whole show itself, let's go ahead and get into it. So Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler retain the women's tag team titles. Again, Asuka, Charlotte Flair. I can see where there's some kind of a thing going on where I don't know where Asuka goes right now with the women's title on Raw. But Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans obviously is getting into a feud that's being built up right now with Ric Flair being in the conduit. So that's the next thing. And they built it up very much here in the Royal Rumble for that to happen. Now, how they're going to go make that match something. You would have to think that Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans, whatever the reason they think Lacey Evans, and listen, I think Lacey Evans, there's an upside to her. There absolutely is. Well, the problem is that, are they going to do the right thing and make it where Charlotte Flair is playing the role of the veteran that's going to try to help get Lacey Evans over? Because that is what Charlotte Flair needs to be doing here. That's her responsibility. So can they do that? That's the first question. Now, tonight, after that kickoff show match, we go right to Goldberg and Drew McIntyre. Goldberg gets the interest right off the top. Drew McIntyre comes out. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Doesn't need to go anymore. And I said it on the recap at the end of Wednesday's program. I said, what we need to see for Drew McIntyre right here to help continue to keep him up at such a top level is we need Drew McIntyre to kick out of a spear and jackhammer. I mean, that's what it is. It's what he should get. Now, if I'm correct, I think Roman Reigns got the same thing. So Goldberg does the right thing here. Drew McIntyre goes over. Drew McIntyre, again, goes into WrestleMania as the WWE champion. Great. Now, who is he going to go and take on? We have no clue. I don't know who they could have set up to go ahead and take a shot at the belt. Could they be building up Sheamus? Like, there is no clue about this. And again, we're 69 days away. What are we going to do right now? Again, 70 days, excuse me. So 10 weeks to get to that point. Who's going to be the person that goes up in that title race? Because then on Raw right now, I don't see anyone on that roster right now that really looks solid for Drew McIntyre to go and take on. And I hope it's not The Fiend, because we don't need him back in here to put anything here at all. It's just not working. So there's no clue really what I look at it of who they would have that could really be the next opponent for Drew McIntyre. So we're going to have to wait on that. They're going to have to introduce that tomorrow night. Like, they need to go and have that kind of already set in stone tomorrow night. Either that or find some way to find a contender for that belt. And then Edge needs to go ahead and announce on SmackDown he's taking on Roman Reigns. That's, I think, the match they go for. With Roman Reigns, I can see where they're going to go with that there. And if it's him and Edge, like, listen, Edge, veteran babyface, chance to go and win the belt. Sure, they can have a great match together. And Edge working with Roman Reigns, I can see where they're going with that. Obviously, Edge and Randy Orton kind of finish off their thing right there in the Royal Rumble match. And now we're going to go and see Edge move along to another opponent. And Edge work with Roman Reigns, I can see that being the right direction. Okay, I'm all in for that. Now, it's unfortunate, and this is where I am one of the few people that actually appreciate the storyline with the SmackDown Women's title. Because, first of all, I like Sasha Banks here in the role, and she's been great as champion. And I think this run around as she has become champion, after the whole deal with Bayley, that now, it's nice to not see her, playing, co-star with Bayley, having her back as the main event again. And with all the stuff that's going on with her anyway, the Mandalorian is being such a big deal, there's a whole lot there. Right? And what was it, Sports Illustrated or whoever it was that put her as like one of the top wrestlers of the year? And she's getting a lot of adulation, a lot of accolades right now for her. She's, again, I always think that there's a point where Sasha Banks, because she's such a big star now outside of the ring, I just see where she just has so much potential for anything that she wants to do in terms of Hollywood or talent outside. I think acting is going to be in her career coming up. I just don't see how that doesn't happen. She's already gotten a little taste of Hollywood, and I think Hollywood will be calling for her. That's the kind of star they're going to bring on, especially if they want to bring out like a new action star or something else. I mean, who knows what they could do with her? But again, a new action star, her. Why not? I mean, there's just so many different things she checks off the box for. So that I see where WWE right now, they need to go and continue to keep her at such a high level in that main event, in the women's division. And tonight, because of the fact there were 3 matches for the women, 3 matches for the men, I think what WWE is also realizing as well, more than anything else, because they're putting a lot more women's matches on. And I think we're getting now equal treatment on both sides. And I actually put this out on Twitter tonight, that I just think that, right before the Royal Rumble, I think the one thing you could say more than anything else is that with WWE, they need to go and identify themselves that they are basically equal. That the women's division is as much importance right now as anything else. And I think it's because you see where they're booking things. I think they just book a little bit better for the women than they do the men. But the point is, I'm not disputing that. I'm not discouraged by that. I'm not disappointed by that at all. I think that's great. If they need to go and be more centered and more equal booking, equal everything when it comes to the women, let it be. Because right now I feel like the women are of the same caliber more than any other time in the history of this company, the women now are equal, as close to equal to the men. That's one thing that could be said, is that the women have more star power. More, almost more, I think, than anything else. You might think I'm wrong, but there's just something there where I think, there's just so many good, talented women here. They have really just brought in such a roster, such a crop of stars they have here. And it's not the divas. Like, if you look at who came into the match, I mean, again, the Royal Rumble match for the women was very interesting on how they're going to put things together, and how you did see a little bit of a throwback to the original stars they had, where Victoria comes out, Lisa Marie Varon, or Tori Wilson comes out, or Jillian Hall comes out, and getting that little bit of a taste back. But then you look at this new crop of stars, not so much all the other people in NXT like a Dakota Kai or Toni Storm. Don't get me wrong, talented nevertheless, but on the way up. I don't think Toni Storm's right there yet, but again, very attractive and very talented. There's an appeal there for her at some point that can be brought up. But again, I mean, where will they go? When will they go and bring her up? Because obviously they really felt like Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, those are two stars on the rise. Bianca Belair's already been around for a while, and she's getting the rocket on her back, and she deserves it. So now, before I move along to that, I'm just talking about as a whole for the women. They're just building it better. I actually really do like the Carmella character right now, with the whole wine and the connoisseur and the sommelier kind of stuff, the Reginald character. And again, the heel losing to Sasha Banks in another same match. I don't have a problem with this. I think Carmella's character is good. I actually like it better than what it was originally. The heel character, this right here, it works for me. I mean, there's just an appeal there. And I just feel like the creative team, they probably want to go and work with, because I think more than anything else, that the women are always the fresher characters. They're always fresher personalities to work off of. There's not as many veterans on the women's side. I mean, if you're talking about Charlotte Flair or Sasha Banks, they've been in the company with Bayley, same idea. But again, they don't feel worn down. We don't feel like we're getting hit over the head with them. It doesn't feel like that. Again, because we have such young stars. I mean, they're all, relatively all in their prime, and can go wherever, like as with anybody else in the business. And then you have these younger stars coming in with such a short window of time, because in the men's side, you have guys that are well over 40 at this point, working with some stars that are also in their late 20s, early 30s. But on the women's side, there's a closer gap. And, the amount of time it takes for a star to be made from the women's side is quick. It can be much quicker than anything else. Because you're seeing it right now where certain stars just automatically got to become instantly successful. I think it goes back to when AJ Lee was on the scene, to Paige, to Becky Lynch, to Sasha Banks. You're just seeing stars being made and just truly making themselves main event material in some way, shape, or form leading up to. Now, are they being put towards the main event on the pay-per-views and on every show? No. On Raw? Yes. SmackDown? Yeah, that's been doing that. So the television, they're definitely being looked at that as such in certain matches based on who's going to be going out there. But the pay-per-views, not so much yet. And obviously, this is where I think the other thing too is that when everybody talks about an evolution, I think more than anything else, we don't need another evolution. What we need is let the matches be booked equally now. Because what you can do is, if you're going to stick with, 6, 8, 10 feuds on a consistent basis, and you're splitting it between the women and the men, it gives some variety. And I think what they need to do is, I think the company's doing better off to some way, shape, or form. They're building better stars on the women's side. Like, as I said, you don't have to do much when it comes to like the Bianca Belair character, the Rhea Ripley character. They're basically the same as they were in the NXT side, and they didn't change them. And I think it's because on the NXT side, I think they're doing some things with some of those stars on the women's side that you could just do more with. And you don't have to go and make any transformation to the characters. I mean, Carmella, obviously, they made a change to her as she moved up. But again, because she did, the other character was getting a little bit of the staleness of the gimmick, the Staten Island thing. Nothing against, but it's just true. This change over into the new character right now, I think it's going to work. It just needs more time. With the Lacey Evans character, they brought her up. The Sassy Southern Belle thing, toss it now. Because now we're going to see something else from Lacey Evans, and this works. Now, it's not there yet, but I think I like the problem is that Charlotte Flair is just, at this point, I mean, she's been away for a while, but also I think there is a bit of an ego right there where I think she feels she needs to be champion, always holding the belt. But Charlotte Flair, obviously, such a good worker. And I think her being, helping to build other stars over, that needs to be her. Somebody has to be that. That's got to be the veteran that's going to go ahead and be able to get the other stars, get the next set of stars ready to go. That's got to be her. I think Asuka almost kind of feels like that a little bit. But we're waiting for stars for her to go and get, which they have right now on Raw and SmackDown. They're just not getting put out. But I think for me, that's what needs to happen. So, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. It's what I look at as the WrestleMania match. How this works out, I don't know. And I think, do one of them need to become a heel here, or do we just have two faces and there's just an ego trip here that goes on? I mean, Sasha would have to go and play the heel character here because she's going to just be the ego trip at all this. But then the Bianca Belair will be the, that's so cute. Look at what you're doing, the EST thing. That's cute, but you're not the boss. There's there's the best, not the bestest. So, like, you got to show up something more before you think you're going to take this belt from me. Like, I've been around, and this whole thing where I can think that's where they're going to go with that. Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, that's your match for the women's title on the SmackDown side. Don't know what they're going to do on the Raw side. The Raw side, I think we don't have a clue of what's going to happen. But again, that's how this company's working right now. The SmackDown side. The blue side, we're going to know what matches are kind of getting built up because that's the show right now. That is the A show. So you're trying to set up a couple things going into the WrestleMania season that are going to be the matches we need to go and worry about. Edge, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. You're going to have those feuds initiated tomorrow or on Friday, and they're going to go forward. And that's what you're going to have as the appeal for that. And then you got to find other matches to go after that. As for Drew McIntyre and Asuka, who is even going to have the belts? I think Drew McIntyre goes into WrestleMania as champion, but then who's his next opponent? Who do you put there? No clue whatsoever. And Rhea Ripley, great time she had out there. She had a good appearance. Looks like she's going to be back on the main roster now. Who becomes where she goes with things? Could they have Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair now? That's the problem. Charlotte Flair, there's a lot of things they're working with her right now that she has certain opponents. So does Rhea Ripley get somewhere with Charlotte Flair down the line? Because we had that was supposed to be going on as well. I mean, they had a little tete-a-tete in the Royal Rumble match tonight. Should they have something there? I don't know. But there's no answer for that yet. I don't know what they're going to do. Now, that's what I feel about that. Now, in the match, the Royal Rumble matches themselves, okay, when you look at it, so Bianca Belair comes in number 3. It's interesting as well. 3 matches, so she was in there at number 3 in the draw. 4 eliminations herself. So basically, it was just her and just pure endurance throughout the night to go through what she did. Shayna basically got the most eliminations. That was the deal to try to go and bring her where she has some kind of a push and credibility for herself again. A couple NXT stars that got brought in did not make much of a difference. Shotzi Blackheart in and out. Naomi stayed around for a while as a veteran, but I don't think they ever look at Naomi as anything more than the mid card. I mean, they've given her a couple of chances to be towards the main event, but I don't think they just feel like she can go much higher than that. Which is why we never got a Sasha Banks Naomi kind of feud. If there were any kind of a program with them significant, I don't think we ever get anything like that. And for what it's worth, Toni Storm was in. She wasn't there for too long. And then you go along and say, okay, the Riot Squad, get a little bit of time in there. Dana Brooke getting some time in there. I mean, there wasn't anything that was like over the top. Like I was like, wow, I'm really amazed by what's going on. I mean, some of the people they had on, to me and Natalya just filling spots still at this point. I mean, I get Natalya being there at the end, and, she's been there for so long. But, I almost feel like with Natalya, it's like, again, with her, you want to have her out there just as a random on-air, performer out there or still doing house shows. But I think at this point, she's better off being a trainer and training the stars that are coming up. Or working with some of these younger stars, I don't know, but probably just not on television. Just go ahead and have her retraining at this point. It's nothing against that. I just think she's probably better off just doing the work of the coaching more than just being out there in the ring and taking a spot for another young star. Just saying. So, for what it's worth, the Royal Rumble match, the women's side, it was well booked, like where they went with everything. The spacing out everybody was actually pretty interesting. And, didn't really get much of the whole 24/7 titles thing they were just doing out there where, whatever. I will say that a couple of the stars they brought back in as veterans, man, you could still, if you wanted them to still stay around and work or be a part of the show. I mean, Tori Wilson looked like amazing shape. Alicia Fox doesn't look any different than what she did before. She still looks great out there. Nikki James can still go. I mean, you just see certain stars that are just, you have some stars that you could always just bring back to go ahead and work programs with some of these stars to try to build them back up. I mean, that's the other thing they'll do on the women's side is that you have so many stars you could just go ahead and bring on the women's side that are part-time and just like, hey, let them work. Let them work with some other stars and help build up some other stars with some, with some people that have some actual name recognition. And let them go and get somewhere. I mean, some of the NXT stars got a chance to work with some of these veterans. I mean, it's not going to so much really help maybe so much with their abilities in the ring, working with them, but the chance that they're going to get over some of these stars could be helpful, I would imagine. That's just where I'm coming from with it. Let's spend any time talking about the Universal title match with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. I'm already done with this feud. The fact that Kevin Owens got into this match, I mean, I got how they worked around to get Adam Pearce out of the whole deal so that Kevin Owens could get another shot at the title. Doesn't make much of a difference to me. With Roman Reigns, it's more about his character and that, just seeing Kevin Owens coming in almost like he just keeps getting chances and just keeps coming in, fighting back. I got it. Yeah. How many more times do we want to see that? With Kevin Owens, I'm starting to get I'm getting fatigue from him. It's not his fault. I just think the way they book him, I just don't like it. Kevin Owens has been the same character throughout. I mean, there's got to be some evolution with him. Something else that goes on with him. He just can't cut the same promo and do the same match. I mean, we got to do something new with him. If he's just content with just doing same old, that's fine. But I wish there was something more to do with him that would be different. Like, remember, he's kind of neutralized from what he was in Ring of Honor because he was always such a smartass. That whole storyline with him, that's gone. And especially when he's not a heel. When he's a face, yeah, that's fine. But man, he's just a face. And it's like, I wish he was a heel again. Like he badly needs to go back to heel. Or something else. Just change him up or tag team him with somebody else. I don't know. But this, I think, putting him in a tag team would probably be really, really good. Because at this point, I'm tired of Kevin Owens just being Kevin Owens. Like, I know he's going to be good out there, but now I just feel like he's just going to lose all the time. Because if he goes down to a Roman Reigns or a Seth Rollins or whatever, it's like, Or, Shane McMahon gets the win over him. I think, it's okay. We've seen everything you could do with Kevin Owens. It's time to do something with him. Maybe just give him some time. Rework something else here. Do something else with it. Because obviously, he's still a good star. So much in his prime. It just, there's got to be something else you do with him. Because he's already had main event, luster before. He's been a champion. What are you going to do to make him a champion again? Or make him be relevant back to the top one more time? Because he's not right now. I mean, he is above the mid-card when needed. But, this company needs to go and get something out of there because he's feeling stale. Just saying. And with this win with Roman Reigns getting the win the way he did, listen, that's just enough. Let's just let Roman Reigns move along. Let's go and get things going on so we can go ahead and get to Edge and Roman Reigns. If that's the planned feud, let's get to that next. Kevin Owens steps aside. That's where we go next. Because obviously it looks like they were just trying to stretch out that feud with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns until we got to this feud up starting with Edge. That's where they were going to go with it. Now, with Edge winning tonight, they were making the point he won 11 years ago, 2010, and then wins the night, first entrant, 58 minutes for the match. Now, the credit to Edge for being able to go ahead and work so long in the match and do what he did. You know, I mean, he didn't cut corners. He was there the whole time. And remember, after his return last year, and remember, after all the years away from injury, thinking he would never go and get back to work again. And look where he is now. But now, you know, the feel-good thing about Edge, you know, coming back, that's one thing. But him winning the Royal Rumble, because now he's going to have to take a spot. Because there's nobody else that this company has right now that is ready for the spot. So the spot at WrestleMania for the Universal title match, the spot wasn't being prepared or groomed for anybody else. They didn't plan on that. Instead, a part-timer is going to have to come in because the company failed to find the next star to fill that spot. This is everything that's going on wrong with the company. I mean, it's not that hard. I'm not asking for the world and saying, hey, we need to be, I don't need you to be AEW or MLW or Impact Wrestling where every feud has an intricate storyline. We're not asking for that. I don't expect this company to do that. But what I expect this company to do is be able to build feuds. You have these titles that you've made such a big deal. You now have a bunch of stars that are holding onto their belts for a considerable amount of time. Okay? And if you're going to do that, that's fine. But you need to go and consider that your title holders need to matter for something right now. That's what needs to happen. At this very moment, your current champions, Drew McIntyre, 77 days holding the belt. And that was after he held the belt for a considerable amount of time beforehand. Asuka, Raw Women's title, 162 days. She's held this in SummerSlam. Universal title right now, Roman Reigns, 155 days. Sasha Banks, 99 days. Now that's considerable, given what they were doing before. So they obviously have their sights on who's going to be champions here. So again, think about it. 70 days on top of that. Roman Reigns will already be 225 days. Sasha Banks will be up to 160 or 170 days. And then you're looking at Drew McIntyre, that'll be up to 140. Asuka will be up to about 240. Again, they're holding on for 6 months, 9 months to a year. Those are considerable runs given the way this company's been, where they kind of have, they'll take time to hot potato the belt, especially right now. But your titles right now they're in the hands of some quality people, no doubt about it. Are they as high up the main event where they're going to be like, you know, you're going to promote WrestleMania and you're going to have Drew McIntyre get on every show out there and he's going to be like, he's going to pull ratings? I don't know. Sasha Banks, Roman Reigns? Yes. Like if you want to go and promote WrestleMania coming up this year in Tampa and you want to get them on every radio station, want to get them on everything on, yeah, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks? Sure. Drew McIntyre and Asuka? Not so much. Maybe not. So with that, you're building these stars, and then you're going to say to yourself, okay, who's next to go ahead and bring up front to go ahead and be opponents? Where are the opponents being booked so they can be brought on to this biggest show, the greatest show of them all? The biggest show of all, the platform. Where are these stars? Well, with Edge, he's going to take the spot for Roman Reigns because they don't have anybody else. I mean, unfortunately, you know, when you listen to people fantasy booking WrestleMania, the one match we would want to go and see, of course, would be Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's a dream match. And I think down the line, The Rock will go ahead and come in and take that shot, and he'll go ahead and go after that title. Sure. Okay, would John Cena come back? Yeah, probably. Could he be the guy that goes after Drew McIntyre? I don't think so. But he doesn't fit a role right now. Or he could fit for somebody else if he gets to go and come back and work WrestleMania, and he'll just work with somebody else. Who knows who? Then you also have to consider the fact that The Miz, he still holds it on that briefcase. What's next for that? I'm guessing that's going to have to get used somewhere down the line between now and WrestleMania, that he's going to try to go ahead and, cash in on Drew McIntyre and lose it. Because that's how they're going to have to plan that out. Nobody's even considered that yet, but that's where we're going to have to go with that. Just no other choice. So, the opponents, by WrestleMania time, and by all your other major pay-per-views, you should be able to go ahead and build proper opponents for this. I don't expect you to do it every month either. But for your big pay-per-views, you should be able to. WrestleMania 10 weeks away. And we really don't see anyone that really stands out as opponents. Where we're like, okay, were we asking for Edge versus Roman Reigns? I don't know. I just want Roman Reigns to have a good opponent. Edge fits the role. So the fact that they had to go ahead and book Edge here, and obviously they gave him such a great performance. I mean, it's all. The other thing too is that they already did this for Edge. I mean, Edge doesn't need any more rub, right? I mean, I guess there's something to be said if he's going to take on Roman Reigns, he's got to look really strong. So yeah, run the whole gambit and win the Rumble match. Yeah, makes him look really good for Roman Reigns. Absolutely. Couldn't have been served. It could have been served for somebody else to have that spot, but they weren't going to do that. They're only going to do it for a superstar they trust and know. So that's where Edge goes right here. And then when you're looking on the other side, I mean, again, there are no stars that I looked at from the men's Royal Rumble match that really stood out. I mean, even when I look at both matches, again, there are stars that I look at that look promising when you look at the stars and how they were booked in the Royal Rumble match. Because remember, we can evaluate individuals and what they looked like, right? Again, when I look at that women's match, the fact that Bianca Belair stayed and she survived for so long, had a long run last year, and she won it this year, they really have booked her up. The Royal Rumble has been her match to help elevate her, to rise her up to the top. Shayna Baszler getting in where she was and, kind of having that Braun Strowman kind of feel to it when you look at the other side. And I look at some of the others that were in. Rhea Ripley getting 7 eliminations and lasting from 14 to 29. There's one thing to be said about that where she just really had a long run and they're seeing a lot of upside to her. Absolutely. But again, when I look at who else they had on the roster that really could have gone a whole lot of way, I don't know. I mean, Bayley getting here first. Right now, they're just kind of, they're putting they're putting on the back seat right now because she's already been held. She held the long term with the SmackDown title, and right now she's just got a standalone character. So what do you do right here? That's where I think where Bayley comes in, and like you could put her in a feud right now with somebody. I don't know who, but I think you could bring back a Hall of Famer and put her in a match with Bayley right now and something in that way and do something there. On the men's side, so they're not going to do anything more with Randy Orton, I would imagine. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Again, I don't want him to work with the Fiend, with Bray Wyatt anymore, but what else do you do with Randy Orton that you haven't already done? That's one thing you got to think about. Now with Big E, he was there for a while, but again, I think they just feel content with him being IC champ. He's not ready to be moved up anywhere else, so they just gave him in there, put a spot on him, and almost was the guy that helped eliminate Big E. So obviously we're going to see the AJ is going to probably be in some kind of a feud with Big E, and Omos is going to be the underlying factor. So if Omos is going to be brought into the mix, he's getting much more physical now. They've been kind of working their way to that as the henchman for AJ Styles. That's, I guess, where Omos comes in. And now he starts working with Big E, and that's where the next feud comes in. That makes sense to me. And remember, they're going to build to something at WrestleMania with that. So keep that in mind. Other than that, when you look at who else came out, I didn't see anybody else that really had such a long run throughout. I mean, when I look at it, they brought in Damian Priest. He wasn't there for a super long time, so I don't think they can be bringing him up right anyway. We didn't see any Karrion Kross. No Keith Lee on this show. There were a few people that pointed that out. Now, I'm not sure what happened there. Riddle was in there for a while. Seth Rollins comes in and starts doing some damage. And, you just had you had some, previous stars that came in. Carlito looked like an amazing shape. Of course, that's no question there when you saw him. And then Kane coming back. The Hurricane. And then Christian and Edge, with a nice moment. Having all that come in. But then when you look at the amount of veterans they have on this roster that they had to go and fill the rest of the Royal Rumble with, when you're looking at, okay, Orton, Hardy, Ziggler, Nakamura's been around for a while. Xavier Woods has been here for a long time as well. John Morrison, in and out, but he's been around for a long time. Very recognizable. Miz, of course, what is it? They said it was his 13th or 14th, and same thing for Ziggler. Crazy. Daniel Bryan, we've seen for so long. Kane has been a long stay. King Corbin, we've seen for quite a while now. And they've given him some chances to get up to that main event. But obviously they don't see anything more of him getting elevated once again. He's just kind of just in the upper mid card. That's it. Otis, they're retooling. Then you got Christian, who's been so long in the company. AJ Styles, who's so established. Rey Mysterio, forever in the company. Cesaro, Sheamus, Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman. There's a lot of staleness on that roster. Like on the men's side, these are the guys that had in there. And some of the young stars they brought up. The young end, it's kind of short. Again, no Keith Lee. You see Mustafa Ali in and out. You see Ricochet, who's not, he's still a veteran, but still pretty young when it comes to his time in WWE anyway, from his NXT time. Elias, still kind of relatively new, I guess, in their eyes when they think about it, because also he's been injured for quite a bit. Riddle, and Dominic Mysterio, and Otis. Again, there's just not a whole lot there. There's not a whole lot of stars they have that can go and just be brought up and say, okay, let's do something with them that they haven't already tried to do. That's the other thing. So they're going to, this is 30, this is what they had for 30 guys to bring on the roster. And they did not try to go and rely a whole lot on people outside. Just going to bring people back just as a kind of quick one-off, as a novelty, just to see them back. And that's it. No. But it tells you a lot. When you look at who they have left in the match to get over, again, it's Edge, Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins. That's not a lot of youth right there. There's a lot of guys that have been on the top for a long time. They've kind of saturated their main event spot. There is nobody on the men's side that is young and up and coming that they're trying to build up for that spot. They don't have anybody. It's so apparent when you see this Royal Rumble tonight where that is. On the women's side, different story. You can see a lot of stars that they're looking to go and try to bring on up. Like I said, I think they definitely see a lot when it comes to Mandy Rose. Carmella, they see a lot with. They see a lot with Alexa Bliss. They've always had a thing for her. I think they always think that, they're obviously putting something with Lacey Evans right now. Rhea Ripley, obviously. I don't know what to think about Peyton Royce at this point. But then again, Bianca Belair. I think it's the next person to get the rocket strap right now. She's going to get to the moon right now. They could very well. kind of just starting a really good feud that it starts up, and then just see where that whole feud goes with her and Sasha. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, you know, I have no doubt they're going to be able to put a decent storyline together for Roman Reigns and Edge and how they'll make that work out. It's a match I never thought I wanted to see, but it's a match I'm not sad to go and see that's coming on. I'm actually excited about it. It's a fresh feud. Good. How do they go and put that together? That's what I want to figure out. So anyway, we're going to leave it there. There's just so many questions to answer that we really don't know what they're going to be doing going forward. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm kind of just scratching my head right now because now they need to go and fill some puzzle pieces. But again, what I see more than anything else is that they are hurting right now with the lack of opponents. They don't have those opponents that they need right now. And this has been a constant problem. Why they never really put this together at this time. Now you're at WrestleMania season. There's no more excuses. You can't just put matches together without having two people that you can put together. I mean, you just think the champion's going to go and just take on anybody and they're going to make a good match? No, you got to have somebody. Where's the antagonist? I mean, you have all these protagonists as champions. The company lacks antagonistic traits. People that are able to go and make themselves, credible threats to take the belts off of them. Now, with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, they have to build up Bianca Belair being able to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I can take that belt off of her. We have to wait for that. And then as for Roman Reigns, I guess you could go ahead and suspend belief and just believe that, you know what? They could let Reigns drop the belt to Edge to a veteran. I think at this point in his run as a heel champion, that will be a mistake. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. I mean, there's obviously going to be some old school fans who can say, you know what? Yeah, Edge wins. Sure. I don't want to see it. I'm not ready for that. Anyway, I got so much more to go and say about this, but I want to go and let Raw happen before I make any more comments about where the WrestleMania picture goes, because we're going to be constantly shaping it, forming it, retooling it, analyzing it, and just seeing how it comes together. Because I have no clue where they're going with certain things. I think that we have a couple of matches that are definite right now, and there's a couple of matches that we can see that they're trying to build up to. I think right off the bat right now, besides the two championship matches we know, which I think it's going to be Edge and Roman Reigns and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I think we're going to see an AJ Styles Big E feud that's going to be coming up. Kind of saw the inklings of that. And I think Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair is also in the lock for a match at WrestleMania. That's where they're going to go with it. I don't know how that's going to work out, but okay. Then you got to build the rest of that show. What do you do? Because again, we don't know what the tag team titles look like right now and how important they're going to be. Or if they're going to build anything with the other mid-card titles, with the IC, with the US title. I don't know. Hard enough to make sure the main events have some proper opponents to then worry about the other belts. I have no clue. So, we'll come back Wednesday. We'll see what they come up with. We'll comment about it. And we'll come back with another Wrestling is Real podcast. Thanks for checking out the Royal Rumble recap. For overall, the show is very good. Listen, it is an A. They did a damn good job with the Royal Rumble tonight. But so many questions to answer. And I just feel like, okay, they booked what they did, fine. But what are they going to do to go and make this WrestleMania something special? And also build another show that's 2 nights long. You got to come up with something. WWE needs to go ahead and, they got to start thinking a little more outside the box. And they better, if they're going to have to, build the show coming up, they're going to have to come up with something here that's going to just really just blow this thing off the roof. Because, we got a couple of good matches that are going to be coming up that, are they WrestleMania worthy? I don't know yet. We got 2 matches that are capable of being WrestleMania worthy. but you got to make sure that whole show's WrestleMania worthy. We need at least another 4 or 5 matches total. So you got to get 3 more matches set up, or 4 matches set up, to really make this show shine. What are those going to be? We will find out if we're getting any answers on the next Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. You can find all previous episodes at WrestlingIsReal.com or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at King of Podcasts, and search King of Podcasts on YouTube, or type youtube.com/JBRASCO951. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.